All yours, Rosie.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's see who's here in our group. So welcome everybody. This is, Build Your Best Practices. And I am your host, Rosie Rodriguez. If you guys, I may or may not know some of you guys, but I've been here for a little over 5 years. And, that's when Rick had called me. He's my direct sponsor and said, Rosie, pay attention to this. And he said it 3 times in a year. And then finally I said, oh, Rick, what was that thing you were talking about? And then, then EXP came to be. And so I'm very honored and happy to be here hosting this call right now. I know that it is a challenging time emotionally, and it's also like a time to really take in everything that Rick has shared with us over the years, and the person he was, and the person he was someone who was all about people, all about relationships, all about connecting, and all about changing lives. And so in the spirit of that, when we're talking about building and we're talking about, how do we attract individuals into our life, I think that he was like a walking example of how, right? By caring for people and connecting with them and making them feel like they matter. Because like Casey has said in previous calls, it's rarely about the money. It's more about the people and the person and the fact that they want to connect with something, something different, something bigger, something better. So I'd love to just open it up so that, everybody here has a moment to actually get value out of this call and ask you guys, like, what are some things that you guys would like to talk about today? Things that, you might be struggling with or you wanted to get perspective on. And I will do my best, to do like Casey 2.0 today. So anything in particular you guys want to cover? Hi, Cindy, Oklahoma, right?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Just looking for a referral yesterday on Oklahoma, by the way. In Pryor. I hear that's
country definitely not me.
Okay. We'll talk about that later. So Ralph, Laura, Jen, hey Will, anything that is kind of top of mind for you guys? Shoot.
For me I don't know, it was a big hit, man. I love that dude a lot. And also he was a huge part of my agent attraction. I did every call with Rick, literally every single call. So yeah, so I'm still just trying to pick up the pieces just with everything right now.
Thank you for that, Will. I think that's what I think that's what a lot of people are trying to do, is just kind of figure it out, or process. Some of us drivers do a really good job of keeping busy to process, right? And so thank you for sharing that. Any other thoughts or anything that anyone would like to share?
Are we talking agent attraction?
We're talking
So,
agent attraction.
So I can share what's worked for me, and yeah. So let's go there. So in the beginning, I built really fast, and I started paying attention to another lady who's building pretty fast. Her name is Amy Gregory. Look her up, guys. And she had a meeting yesterday, basically a webinar to pitch another course or whatever. But essentially, she built it the same way. Everything I was doing in the beginning, I just kind of stopped doing it. So what's working is she has a landing page, and on that landing page, she talked about you doing because right now I've been sending Brent's video, right? But it's like this: if you're going on a listing presentation, I'm not going to send Joseph's on the listing presentation for me, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go and get the business. So She really talked about you, since this is, I mean, such a big revenue stream, you need to make that video. So making the EXP Explain video with you being that person, right, of authority, and then also why you made the switch, putting that all on the landing page and inviting people to watch that and then reach out to you.
Okay.
That worked for me really well. That's working for her extremely well. And yeah, so I think just being out there and putting it out there more often and letting people self-select and letting people, watch the content and absorb the content on their own time, I think that's going to help.
Okay. Will, I have a question about that. In terms of doing a landing page, was that a Facebook ad that you were doing, or?
No, I just drop it cold. So if you could let me see. I can you want me to share it?
Yeah,
Go from
love
there?
it. Mhm.
Okay. So let's see. Talk to will.com. So this was the original version, and this is what I sorry, got too many windows open. This is the original. This is what I've been using. I'm switching to something else, but this is live. This is what I've been using. So they'll, I'll just drop this link on my Instagram stories, and people come in, they kind of read. I also have my story on here. I have why I joined EXP. I have why I left KW. Like this video right here is one of the second most watched videos on my channel. Has almost 4,000 views. And then at the bottom, I have a link for them to reach out to me. And then I have my story that Casey and I worked on together. I have my story on here. And then I just they read it and they self-select and they come. But this page alone I've probably had 800 views of this. And I've probably had 50 people book with me. So schedule directly on my calendar. And by the time they do that, they're going to sign up. So I signed up 50 people just from that one page.
Wow.
These are
How,
directs.
how is it that people would find it, right? Because like on the internet,
Mhm.
things are, there's billions of things out there, content that's out there.
Yeah, so they find it on my Instagram page.
Okay.
So if you go to, let's see, Instagram. If you go to Instagram, look at Leo. Here we go. It's in my links.
Okay.
It's in my links. Partner with me at eXp Realty. So it's there. It's in my description on my YouTube channel. I dropped the direct link in my stories. So most of my people sign up from my stories. So yeah, so I drop the direct link in my stories. I'll put a motivating post or something out there, and I'll drop the link there, and then people just show up on my calendar.
That's awesome. So what was the reason that you stopped doing that, Will?
The reason I stopped, I just kind of got away from it. Yeah, I just kind of got away from it. So I'm back at it now, but I
Okay.
got away from it. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? This is really, really good information.
Can I add to that?
Yep.
Mhm.
Hey team, yeah, great job, Will. Those landing pages are much needed for recruitment. You need to have a validation point to the conversations that you're having. I kind of piggybacked off of what Will had done. There was a real generic one that was floating around out there for like $20 a month. I forget who was putting those together, but I personally reinvested in another page as well. I'll throw my sample in the chat for you guys to take a look at another option or another example. But the point I was going to make was Will actually gave me a great idea a while back. I used to have like a linked tree on all my social sites with all these different links. And now I'm surprised that Will actually went back to it, because what Will had told me to do was just put the main landing page that you
Mhm.
want to focus on. And that has worked for me. In the last month, I was just looking this over with my team. I had 12 people that registered, and 2 that have converted. Brand new agents, but still agents nonetheless. Just wanted to kind of share that with everybody. Landing pages are fantastic.
Yeah, and why I told Joe that, and I'm going back to that, because I was trying to focus on selling homes. That's why I switched it up. But essentially, why I don't use websites, I just use landing pages because on websites people can get confused, right? They go to your website, then they can search for homes, they can look at this, they can do that, and then the kids calling, and then something happens, and then they get distracted, and then they're gone. On a landing page, people have one option, and that's to schedule a call with me. That's literally it. That's all I want them to do, schedule a call. Now, I don't want them looking at homes. I don't want them, checking with font. I don't want them looking at video. I just want them scheduling a call with me.
So I have a question. What if, like, I don't know, maybe you guys know this or not, but if somebody says, I want to create my landing page, like, what is the software or the marketing company that you guys would prefer or recommend?
So this is kind of like my specialty. I By the end of the week, I can show you guys what I'm working on right now. By the end of the week, I'll have something that if anybody wants to purchase, they can. But I do all the stuff myself.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So guys, if you guys need that, right here in our own
Mhm.
family, we've got Will, who can put that together for you. So any other questions? Javon, Laura, Jen, Ralph? Yeah. Okay. How about I ask another question? So thank you, Will, for sharing that. That's really valuable information. It's kind of like one of those, I'm looking at it as one of those subtle things that everybody knows that they kind of need something, but
Mhm.
then you forget to do it. And we do that a lot. So I love it. I'm definitely going to reach out to you, Will, because I got all kinds of junk and I need to do something good with it.
Hey, Rosie.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, Cindy.
Rosie. Hey, I was just gonna add really quick, something about Rick. So what I'm hoping to get out of these calls is, Casey always says that Rick was really, really good about creating relationships and friendships, and that, she had to show him that you've got to take the step further and present your value as a professional and a leader. And so I think Rick and I really connected really well because we're both really good at that. But I think, that's something that I want to take away from this group um, is following his footsteps in, crossing that threshold of, okay, I have a great relationships with these agents, but how do I get them to see the value in joining me as a professional and as a leader?
Oh, that's a really great question. How do I get people to see the value in joining me and my organization? So what comes to my mind right now is, we've all been in sales for X amount of time. And if you're sitting in front of a client, whether it's a buyer or seller or whatnot, I think we ask ourselves that question in that space, and we've learned to master that, right? Why should I hire you as an agent? Well, because I've been in business for X amount of years, because I have this marketing package, because this is my track record, because this is what I've accomplished for my other clients. And so what comes to me as a response to that is like, what do you know your value proposition? Have you sat down and actually said, okay, what would somebody get when they come with me, and actually put together your listing presentation for a potential agent. And then there's different agents, right? Just like there's different clients. If you've got a buyer, you're going to present, one value proposition to that buyer. And then if you have a seller, something different. And then if you have an investor, something different. And so when I mentioned that, have you sat down and put together your presentation for a new agent, right? What are the tools and resources that you offer, a brand new agent? And then what about, like your mid-level agent who like I've been closing, 8 to 10, 12 transactions, but I really want to get to the next level. And then what about your team, right? Teams out there, somebody who has they're closing 50, 70 transactions. And then of course there's brokerages. And so I feel that we really have to kind of have a value proposition, or know our own value proposition, because from that comes the confidence. And you don't have to have everything yourself, because I know that, that's one of the things that sometimes stops us when we're like, well, what have I done? I've only been an agent for, 5 years, but I've never run a brokerage, or, I've never done this, or I've never done that. Well, what we also teach agents when they're new is that you can borrow credibility from us, right? Like your new assistant will say, hey, my partner and I, we've been in the business for 25 years and we've closed 500 homes, or, all those things. So you can borrow credibility, especially under the structure that we have. So Will, you had something to add to that.
Yeah, I was gonna call Cindy on her stuff because she knows exactly what to say. I think it's for her, it's more, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cindy, which I know I'm not wrong. It's more about like being icky or feeling slimy because she already has the relationship. She's constantly going out with these agents. She's constantly meeting with these agents. But her concern is that there's other people in her marketplace who have smeared the name of EXP, and she doesn't want to look like them. So that's why she doesn't say anything.
What do you think, Cindy? Any truth to that?
He got it. And I think we're slowly changing that. Thank you, Will, by the way. I think we're changing that tune, but it's taking a while. And I feel I feel like I'm very genuine. And so I don't want to create a relationship with an agent just to, recruit them. I truly do care about their business and if they're successful. So crossing that threshold, especially in our market that's been a little jaded, is difficult. It's been really difficult for us to try to navigate. So
Okay. Let's see. I have Katie here who has her hand up. Coach Kelly. Sorry.
It's all right. Hi guys. The script I'm using, Cindy, with exactly the same thing, and it's because it's true, is I've been saying to people, hey, I would love to be in business with you. I literally made a list of 100 names of people I want to be in business with across the country, and your name's on my list. And just saying that, people go, oh, right. And I was like, I don't know what being in business with you looks like, but I don't know enough about your business. Can we sit down and talk about your business? And sometimes it's an EXP conversation, and sometimes it's not, and it's okay. And a lot of times, like, I've been out with people talking about their business, and I'm like, wow, I wasn't planning on this being an EXP conversation, but I feel obligated to kind of share some things with you. And I almost do the takeaway close of like, I don't know if it's for you, or if the timing's right or whatever, but just that, like, I'm here to support you as a person because you have these deep relationships and I care about you. And if I care about you, I obviously care about your business. And that's working at the same company or not, I want to be in business with you. I had a recruiting appointment last week with a guy who has everything buttoned up with what he's doing. And his big thing is he wants to take off more as a speaker. So we started talking about getting on referring each other on the speaker circuit. Like, I don't know that he's ever going to come to EXP, and that's okay. I want to be in business with them. And maybe it's on the speaker circuit you just don't know where the conversation is going to go. But that way it's not because I have the same thing. I think we all have the same thing with some of the slimy. I mean, but or if you think about people that first got a Tesla, do you remember how weird people were about Tesla when Tesla first came out? And you're like, oh my gosh, right? So just like, the first, sometimes that we all the different things have those experience. So that's what I do.
I love that approach. Thank you.
Rosie, can I share something?
Yes, of course.
So obviously I work closely with Rick, and we were on almost every recruiting appointment together for the last 18 months. And in the last week, I've probably made hundreds of horrific calls. But what I wanted to share was, and I'm sure you've all experienced this. Anybody been on a Zoom call where you see Rick like this? Because his head is down and he's texting? right? And you feel like he's really not paying attention right now. And I can remember being so frustrated and texting him and saying, could I please see the whites of your eyes on this call? Right? And could you pay attention? But I now know why. Let me tell you why that was happening. Because in the hundreds of calls that I've made in the last week to tell people, what I heard was, but that's impossible because he just texted me, because he just called me, because he just Facebook messaged me, because he just emailed me, because he just this. And I thought, how on earth is it physically possible for this man to have messaged this many people in this short period of time? And he was just messaging, how's the family? How's business? I just saw you got a new listing. I saw you got in contract. I did this. Like literally, these were the stories I was hearing. And it was because he was in relationship with so many people in this world. And that was what was important, no matter who they were, where they were, what company they were with, whether they had made the decision yet. Every minute of his day was spent in relationship with someone, whether they were ready or they weren't. And while he was not necessarily paying attention on our call, it was because he was thinking of that person in that moment, and he didn't want to forget to make the connection. And he would think, I should reach them. I should reach them. I just saw they listed something. I saw they went into contract. I don't want to forget. And he would reach. And they were impacted, every one of them. Every single one of them in every minute. And because he stayed in relationship with thousands of people at any one given time. And guys, 3 days before we lost him, someone reached out because he just said, I saw your son just did this. And they were like, I'm ready. I'm not kidding. We signed them up while we were at EXPCon. We walked in the room and we were like, let's make it happen for you. And it was because of a random text he saw on Facebook, and he responded. Like, you have to stay in relationship. And as frustrating as it was for his head to always be down and to think he wasn't paying attention, it was because he was paying attention to thousands of other people every single day. So if you could take one thing away, pay attention and reach, and know that every little bit counts, whether it's a congratulations, or I'm thinking about you, or it's a birthday, or it's a kid's soccer game. How are they doing? Whatever it is, you don't have to EXP all over them. You just have to care. Take that away. Giver's gain. He gave all day, every day. All day, every day. That's what I learned this week. As frustrated as I would get that I couldn't see the whites of his eyes, it's because he was giving all of that to everyone else. All day, every day. So just give. And they'll come when they're ready. In case you would say, get a follow-up appointment. in case he would say, get a follow-up appointment. That's why I was here. We would talk to them and I'd be like, when are we meeting next? Tuesday, 9 o'clock? Great, let's do that. So that would be the next step. Don't leave a call, don't leave an appointment with the next time we're talking. That's the next step. But just touch people, guys, all day, every day. Watch, listen, learn, pay attention. Let's just move forward with that.
I think, Selena, as you say that, have you guys ever been like exhausted, just, drained from your day or whatnot? And you're like, oh, I don't want to call this person, or like, oh, I don't want to, like you just like emotionally, like you're just, it feels exhausting to connect with this person or that person, or, do your follow-ups or whatnot. And so I'm sure we all have those days, right? And the reason I'm sharing that is because the mind space and the heart space that you have to be in to reach out is like a contributing, giving space. Like, it takes energy, right? And love to be like, oh my God, I haven't spoke to Mary in 3 days. Like, I gotta call Mary. How's Mary doing? There's Patty, and there's this person and this person and this person. Like, all of that comes from you You know, you can only do it strategically and as a business for a certain amount of time, where people kind of realize that it's like a business conversation, not an authentic relationship. And so if for whatever reason, you know, if some days you're not feeling like 1,000%, that's okay. However, what are you doing intentionally on a daily basis to get yourself in that mind space to show up and, you know, contribute to the world, right? You know, to share your gift, right? So, you know, if you're kind of feeling icky about, you know, asking someone, you know, hey, I really want to be in business with you. Maybe you haven't, the relationship isn't, may not be there. I understand there might be some other things locally, but you know, are you genuinely pouring into that person just out of a desire to build a relationship? They know you're with EXP. They know what EXP is about. You know, like it's all over everything, everywhere. And so the concept here is that, you know, there's some people that you're going to be in a relationship for years and years and years. And are you in that relationship to gain something from them, or, you know, are you in the relationship to give something to them? You know, they may come, they may not. And, you know, if they win with, you know, with another company, you know, man, that's such a good person. And I want them to win because they're a good person. And if they win in partnership with you, even more amazing, right? Because you get to be a part of their life, you know, through that journey, on a more intimate level. So what I wanted to say is just for him to be able to do that, it was because he was such a heart-driven person, and it's about an internal desire to like connect. He was a connection junkie, you know, like who can I talk to? Who can I get in front of? Oh my God, I just met this person. Like it was his, you know, it was how his cup was filled every day because he got to connect with people, and people felt that. And so it's a long game, you know, not a short game. It's a long game, guys. And so whoever you feel genuinely aligned with and genuinely in connection with and genuinely you'd like to, you know, you could invite them over to your house for a barbecue. Like those are going to be your, you know, those should be your hit list. You know, not necessarily the guy who's got, you know, X amount of production or X number of agents, but like they're like, you don't really, they're fine, but it's not somebody you'd go to a concert with. Like, who are the people that you would love to be in business with? And those are the relationships that mature, you know, and grow into, hey, I love hanging out with you. You love hanging out with me. Like, you're super smart. I'm super smart. What can we create together? So wanted to share that. Go ahead, Will.
I'll add to a success story, and Rick was very much involved in it. So just like this, you know, on social media, we have some of our biggest followers or biggest friends are people that we've never met, but they're people that we like their stuff, they like our stuff, right? And we've just never connected. That's an opportunity. So I had a gentleman like that. He's a broker up north. He has him and his wife have a independent, and been following this guy for a year and a half, 2 years. We all been liking each other's stuff, never connected. I sent him a message, genuine, nothing about EXP. Hey, brother, I see, you know, we've been connected for the longest. I love cheering you on. Thanks for cheering me on. Would love to hop on a Zoom call just to connect, right? And deepen the relationship. That was it. I got on a call with him. I said nothing about EXP, but guess what? He asked me about EXP. And before I knew it, it turned into a doggone agent attraction call. And then the next week he was at lunch with Rick. But just genuine.
And here's a question. When it is genuine, guys, there's also a much higher stickiness factor, right, to that relationship, because, you know, great strategy that we're talking about right now with like social media, landing page, book a call with me. However, how those, you know, once you are in relationship with those people, like it is about nurturing that relationship, right? Moving forward so that there's stickiness, because they'll come for a tool and a technique, but when they feel kind of like they're not part of a community, they're like, great, I learned how to do, you know, Facebook advertising, but I don't really know Will. We don't really talk a lot. My friends are over here. They've got a great, you know, jive. They have a better split, you know, whatever. So then it'll become like what they say, in the absence of value, you know, price is an issue or something like that. So be also aware that those relationships like Will's, they already have the synergy, they already have the connection, they were already following each other, they were already, you know, vibing on the same vibe. Like that's a relationship that will flourish, right? Because they're so like-minded, they're on that same frequency. And so again, when you're talking about your top 10, like think about people you just, you know, when you think about them, you light up, you know, hopefully they do too, right? When they think of you. So yeah, I want to just add that those relationships add to stickiness. Yep. All right, something else? Anything else you want to add? Such great talent here, such great feedback, Joseph and Katie and Will. And Katie, if I'm not mistaken, is it you that'll be on the call on Friday? Okay, awesome.
Be me, but I might even do hair and makeup. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's gonna depend. I'm in Honolulu, so you know I got to get up. I'm willing to get up at 4:30 for you people, so I'm happy to do it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we'll. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, all the structure that, you know, that's in place is, you know, is continuing to be in place, and we're going to continue to host all the live trainings, the Activate and the Leverage Builders, like those two programs, those have been postponed. However, I'll be covering this call and then the following call, and then Katie will be covering the Friday call. And I think the week after, 2 weeks after that, Paul Sessom might be jumping on. And so I love the fact that, you know, just this community, like, you know, one of Rick's last speeches, you know, this community is really coming together to, you know, work as a team, and he would be overjoyed, you know, with how you guys are showing up. So thank you.
Well, I think, can I just make a comment? I just may share a funny story. I know it's a little bit off topic, but it kind of goes to the relationship piece that we talked about. A couple months ago, maybe about 6 months ago, Rick calls me on like a Thursday. He's like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I go, "Those calls are at 6 a.m. I mean, it is 6 a.m. my time." And he's like, and I'm like, "Well, I was gonna sleep. Why?" And he's like, "I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling the energy to do the call tomorrow." He's like, "Could you like?" He's like, "I'll be on it, but can you just do it? Can you be on? Can you just do it? I just don't have the energy, or I don't have the just." He just wasn't feeling it, and he reached out, and I'm like, "Okay, but I'm gonna be in my yoga clothes and a baseball cap." And he's like, "Perfect. I don't care. I just need you to come and bring your energy." And I just started laughing, and I'm like, "Okay." And it was stepped in, and it was so much fun. Just one, it was great to be asked, which kind of goes to again to the connection when you ask people like, "Hey, what can I do to help you?" You know, or you know, or even to say, "I need some help. I need some support, and this is what I'm looking to do. Is this something that would interest you?" Like that goes a long way. But so it kind of felt the same way about, you know, I told Selena, I'm like, "I've stepped in before, I can do it again." And I love that Will just posted, like, I can help. I actually had it in my, I thought about this yesterday. Selena, I haven't told you this, but I'm like, wouldn't it be cool to like every 2 weeks, there's a new guest host or guest coach that, you know, wants to run those calls because they're a lot of fun. So if, you know, anybody else besides Will, I'm sure Selena loves to get more emails because that's what's fun. But I'm sure, you know, I can help out with that too on who wants to be hosting these calls because they're great and a way to contribute and to invite other people, like invite people to these calls because it's brand agnostic. So it's a reason to call people. You got to jump on these calls. You got to be a part of this community. It's powerful.
Thank you for that, Katie. Agree 100%. There is one comment that Jen, she says, "I think the biggest issue with attraction right now is retention." So any contributions that you guys have, things that are working for you in terms of retention, would you like to share?
Yeah, so you know, I think Rosie, you hit it on the needle, you hit it on the head when you said in the absence of value, right? So I think we have to, what I've done that's been working amazing for me lately was I took my whole org and I put them all in WhatsApp, but then I created different communities in WhatsApp, right? So I feel like you have to treat your organization, you know, just like buyers and sellers. You don't communicate with a buyer the same way you communicate with a seller, right? So I think you have to separate the way you communicate with the folks in your org. And I think then you'll be able to really get down to value, but also asking them, what do they value? You know, because a lot of people don't know about all of the tools and services and all the things that EXP offers. So what they're comparing it to is everybody else, right? And it's just like, well, I can go here and only pay, you know, $500, and right now I need I need everything, because they see no value. So I think we have to really lay out, constantly lay out. You might think that people know the value, but you have to like constantly lay out what the value proposition is, and continue to build the value proposition.
I think that's great to ask, Will, because and a lot of times I've assumed that something was valuable and then we had like 0 attendance, and then something wasn't really, marketed, and it was like, hey, how come you didn't tell me? I would have loved to have attended this or been part of that. So asking your agents like, hey, like, what's the area that you're struggling with right now, in your business, or what would you like to see more of, or what's recently caught your eye, that you'd like some resources or support with. AI is a big topic, right? So that might be something like, yeah, how can we learn more about AI? Let's look in the group, right? There's so many resources. You can go to the EXP educational calendar. Guarantee you'd find an AI class, over the course of the next week. It's like, hey, let's do the class together. Yeah, you want to? Yeah, sure. So, just asking is my big takeaway from your share, Will.
I like the way his mind thinks. It's really interesting, by the way. Just to listen to your ideas. Like, I haven't encountered anybody like you in a long time. So you take the WhatsApp, and so like, let's say you have somebody that's your next level down, or even the next level down from that. I get busy sometimes, and I don't like run on and see that somebody has, joined, right? And so I may not know that somebody joined the downline. So I think that's really cool. Like, if I set a calendar alert and go and put those people into WhatsApp and then say, hey, did you know that you have access to this and this and this, and that I'm 2 levels up or whatever. If you need me, you can call me. I think that's brilliant. Because I know that we lost like 5 in the last 3 months, just because I don't think they knew they had resources, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, the issue is we think that people understand, and because they bought them in, we think that they have a duty to help that person succeed. And what I'm finding out is right now people are really just trying to survive themselves. So they think that the job is done once they have recruited the person. Actually, the job is just starting.
Yeah, that's a great point, Will. I wanted to add just another layer to that, if I could, about and this is my military law enforcement robotic side, guys. So trust me, I'm a compassionate guy, but while you're operating in that space of value, as Will and Jen had mentioned, we got to be mindful too that we have to be in acceptance of what's happening, and agents are going to fall off, right? And I know everybody on this call has probably had a punch to the gut when somebody close to you left, or somebody that you thought that was going to be in the running with you forever here at EXP, and they depart, and they go somewhere else. And we have to detach ourselves from that. Again, I know we're talking about personal relationships, but there's something to be said about, the numbers game, right? So you have to keep pushing on. You have to keep making newer connections, newer relationships, newer conversations. So then that way it's constantly feeding a funnel of opportunity for newer relationships that will stand the test of time. So I would encourage everybody. It can be a tough time sometimes, and we go through these ebbs and flows in attraction, but stay the course, stay motivated, develop all these different sources where you're going to be able to get, new attraction opportunities through leads, through funnels, through personal relationships, through people that you're doing, deals with on the other side of the table, because all of that will filter. And when one source dries up, at least you have other sources that you can tap into, just like in sales.
So true, guys. And I have taken the approach, and I've told this to Cindy and a bunch of other people. As soon as someone tells you that they're thinking about leaving, I don't try to do all this stuff to try to keep them, because 9 times out of 10, they've basically already made up their mind. I just wish them the best and keep the door open that if they want to come back, because again, once they have made that decision, they're really of no value to you, because they're not going to bring anybody in. They're not going to push the EXP agenda. They're not going to push their group agenda. They have basically checked out. And at that point, they can become a cancer and bring other people with them if you just don't let them go.
All really good points, guys.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Kind of to what Jen said in the comments here. For lack of not knowing, I feel like what me and Cindy here in Oklahoma run into a lot with a lot of the agents that come on is they're not super self-sufficient. There's a lot of mom and pop brokerages where the broker kind of does everything, and there's not, with EXP, there's some self-sufficiency involved. And so has anybody on this call really streamlined, like really had successful feedback with an onboarding checklist? I know Dream Chasers has ones and we've utilized it, or like even just like kind of really organizing the resources to give, like especially to new agents, because that's who I come into contact with more than anybody is new agents. Has anybody like created something that's just really like helped streamline all that information where it's not so much drinking from a fire hose for them?
I'll kind of chime in a little bit on that, just because from the very beginning, I had, like when I came to EXP, good luck trying to get anybody on a call and getting your application approved, because it literally would take us about a month to actually have the license transfer over and access to the world and, all that good stuff. So I hired an assistant to help with onboarding. And then as things have improved over the last 5 years, which it's like night and day, there's been less need for, all of the support with onboarding. However, what I have found is that my assistant has just been an amazing extension of me and making sure that all of the things are occurring. So it's something that you guys could do that would be very affordable. Just get like a super personable VA, which you could probably hire for, I don't know, $500 a month or whatnot. And then that person would be the person to like give them the complete overview of this is what you have here, this is what you have there. So my assistant does an incredible job. She's my concierge. She does an incredible job of bringing people through. The biggest part of the success is really her personality and her ability to connect with people and make them feel warm and welcome. That being said, although we have put resources together in the past, agents aren't going to, my experience is that people don't read what you send them. And so like we've got a whole how-to here and there. If you go to empirebuilders.pro or even Dream Chasers, I think you guys have the page where you have like link to onboard here. This is first step, second step, third step. So everything has been created, Sydney. However, I really think that the magic sauce is really having a person who takes them from A through D and is an extension of you. And then the minute that they finish with step D, I would, you'd have to go to like phase 2 of what that looks like. And I would imagine phase 2 of that would be a conversation with you, or with, the sponsor or whatever it is, to sit down and do like a business plan. Great. Like, let's talk about what it is that you're wanting to achieve. And then how can I support you with that? Or how can we support you with that? Because you're like, oh my God, I really want to learn commercial. Fantastic. Hey, let me show you. I'm a big show you person. Let me show you, let's log in together. Let me walk you through. Are you here? I'm here. Do you see this? Oh my gosh, because now you've empowered them to like find resources, without you. And then you're more like an accountability, partner, because, you're probably not going to be their mentor unless you choose to take on that role as I will be your mentor for the first year and I will manage all your transactions with you and all those things. I'm assuming that's not the situation. But you have to, I tell my team, I was like, look, when someone comes into the company, it's kind of like you're the new kid in this huge corporation. And who's going to walk their hand and say, hey, let me introduce you to our broker, and let me introduce you to support staff, and let me show you where our training room is, and let me show you this. Like someone has, I feel, should do that. That's my opinion. Because agents will tune out after, 4 minutes of reading. So.
Thank you. I like the idea of the VA. That I think really takes a lot because it's just so much to communicate. And I feel like sometimes you're just communicating so much that they're lost. So to have like one person for them to connect to and hand walk them through that process, I think is a really solid idea. So thank you.
Yeah, and I will add that some of the other things that she has started, which has just kind of developed this way where they will then call, hey, like I wasn't sure, where did you say I could find this? Or, do you know where I could find that? And I'm having trouble with this. And so they also become kind of like a customer service, like front desk type person, who can be reached by text, by email, by Zoom. So again, the profile that I have found that has been most successful has been really like a super, like a high S or high I, like high S, because they're about taking care of people more than anything. They've got that warm personality and they want to make sure that you're okay. So a high S personality and really good communication skills. Some of the technical things, you can teach them. They don't need to be a tech whiz. They really don't. They need to be a people person. Let me take care of you person. Cool. And if you guys end up hiring anybody, I'm happy to put my girl on to help train them, so yeah. Okay. All right. Katie put an onboarding guide. Thank you. Ooh, very cool. Thank you, Cindy. Katie, I keep calling you Cindy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually emailed the onboarding manager. I met her at EXPCon. And I emailed her yesterday, like, does EXP corporate have something that we can be sharing? And she's like, oh yeah, we do. And so she sent me those two things that I'd never seen, like, just like anything else, right? Like there's so much information, EXP. I mean, I laugh about 89,000 agents, but we still feel like a startup, right? So, and so anyway, I found, she sent these to me yesterday. I do have a virtual assistant that helps me with other things. I just forwarded this to my assistant and I'm like, I need you to be the expert on this. Like, I mean, I want to know it, but I want her to be that's going to be my new process. And obviously Selena is not on the call anymore. It doesn't look like, but there's, they did such a great job on empirebuilders.pro that it's a good place to start. And I think it's just, we can't be all things to all people. To Rosie's point, it's like, let me show you, and we want to help them self-discover. And if we at least know these things are available and have somebody like, I very much love the stay in your lane. Like, are we accountability and we're pouring into people, aren't necessarily the same people that are checking every, checkbox on the list of what needs to be done with onboarding and finding a virtual assistant that's what they love to do. So my assistant's a super high C. Thank God. Right. It's like, because I miss all sorts of stuff without her. So those are I think I love the VA that just focuses on onboarding. That's awesome.
Something else that I want to add, because like you didn't even know this existed. The Friday meetings, guys, that the company has, they're so good. This is where we're learning about all the things that the company is doing, all the things that they're rolling out, all the new opportunities, to, list properties or AI stuff or all the things. So I'd really encourage you to, one of the main things to focus on when you onboard someone and yourself is to make it a point to be in the Friday meetings.
And where can you put it's EXP corporate, because I haven't been on one, so I'm just gonna,
yeah, It's in the world, and it's in our main auditorium, and it's every Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific.
Okay.
Okay. And so Glenn will be on there sometimes, Michael, Leo, they'll have like a guest speaker. So that's one meeting that if you just plug in with them, hey guys, it's our Friday meeting time. I'll see you in the world. I'll high five you because you'll have your, your little avatar. I'll be in the back on the right corner, whatever it is. But there's really, really, really good information. And I would encourage you to decipher that information. And then you could send a text, hey, didn't know if you look, here's the link to the new blah, blah, blah that we just created, or did you know that next month we're going to do this or that, whatever it is, use that information to connect and create community. To Jen's point about retention, I think retention, a lot of part of retention is about community. And so if you've got a group of, 2 or a group of 200, what's the frequency of the meetings that you're having with your group? Because people come because of you. If I host a meeting, I've hosted tons of meetings. During COVID, I did like a meeting like 3 times a week. And then what I found is over time, people dropped off because they don't know who Rosie is. They didn't come because of Rosie. They came because of Jen, or they came because of Will. All of us have like a slightly different flavor, and people are drawn to that. And so if you're the leader in your group, are you meeting once a week? Are you meeting once a month? Are you meeting twice a month? How often are you meeting and creating that community, with your people? And like, hey, it's Halloween. We're having a Zoom costume contest, like everybody chime in, or we're going to meet up at ABC Place if you've got a local group, whatever it is. So huge on retention is community. When people want very badly to belong to something, and so as a leader, creating that space for them to plug into and being part of that community is, I think, one of the most important things that you could do in your organizations. Anything else? Yeah, Will?
This guide is good. I'm going through it. It's everything.
Yeah.
I just pushed it out to my org that fast. Yeah, this is good.
That's awesome. By the way, when you said I just pushed it out, Will, you're like 10 times faster than me. I'm still thinking about, when will I make time to read that thing? But I want to say this because Brent says it all the time, the speed of the leader determines the speed of the pack, right? And so it's time to up our game, people. Like, we're so blessed to have Rick and Casey who, have created so many systems and structure, for us, over the past couple of years, and that's great. However, it doesn't replace you and your vibe and your contribution to your people, right? So, let's get moving. We're almost at the top of the hour. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to kind of cover today? I feel it's been a valuable conversation. We learned about the landing pages. We learned about Mr. Will. He's our boss man. If you guys want to create your own landing pages, he's going to be rolling something out this Friday. So I'm first on the list, Will. I don't know what you're going to do, what you're going to charge, whatever, but I'm in. So,
I got you.
So we learned about that. We have this awesome EXP onboarding guide that Katie put together for us. We talked about our Friday meetings, which, we didn't even know we had. Some of us, didn't even know we had, and some of us rarely attend, myself included. But I do have my assistant who takes notes every week on that. So I'm saying that because of your VA situation. Make sure that person is constantly on top of what's happening, because they should be that next person to say, oh my God, I needed an answer on this. My answer is like, okay, hold on, let me check with Lydia. Lydia's always available. Like, poor Lydia, I love her to death, However, making sure that everybody stays current on your team. What else did we cover? We talked about the Friday call. Katie's going to be on the Friday call. We talked about the power of community. And we talked about, knowing your story and your value, and what is your elevator, pitch presentation when you get to that point in the relationship to a new agent, to a team, to a top producer, to a broker. Have you spent some time on your business? So I think that's it. And the Friday company meeting is 8 a.m. Pacific. Yeah.
Michelle has her hand raised.
Yes.
Good morning. I just want to confirm, because there was something pushed out that, the Friday calls will continue and such. And it says 10 a.m. and it was normally 9. So I just want to make sure that we get the right information out on the
It's
Empire
9.
Builders. Okay. So
Yeah.
maybe we can get Selena to correct that Empire Builder
Yeah. She said
Facebook.
I texted her last night about it. She was getting it fixed today.
Okay, perfect. So just to confirm 9 a.m. Friday.
9 a.m.
Thank you.
And at 8 a.m. is the EXP meeting in the world in the main auditorium. So that could be like your learning time, 8 to 9, and then 9 to 10 with the coaching call. So much good stuff, right? You don't have to do a whole lot, guys. Like this whole team has so many resources for all of us. So you just have to pull them and put them in one place and be the communicator. Okay. Well, it was a pleasure hosting today. And you know, there's a little part in my heart that's like so happy because I feel like Rick would be proud of us right now, you know? And so I look forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks on this call. And please feel free to reach out to me. I don't know, some of you guys are part of my org, not org, or, you know, whatever it is. But if you guys need anything, I'm here to support in any way I can. You can find me on Instagram at Call Rosie, or of course, those of you who aren't using your workplace chat, like this is replacing like texting. So make sure that you download workplace chat on your phone, because that's where a lot of the people that are super engaged and doing amazing, they're using workplace chat. Cool. Okay. Have an amazing day and see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
See you Friday.
See you Friday. Yay.
Thank you, Rosie.
Okay.
Thank you, Rosie.
You're welcome.